Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America. I'm John Cranton, joined by world champion handicapper Jim Feist. It is Friday in Las Vegas, a big weekend with NFL Week 3, where they play the starters more, plus the big fight going on Saturday right here in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. I'm going to give you some analysis on these games, some free picks, and some line movement from Vegas. But first, Jim, you're a perfect 3-0 this week with your baseball games of the month. Your underdog game of the month last night, that was the Washington Nationals, plus with those high-end inner circle releases, a sizzling 51 and 33 one after Tampa Bay pitched a shutout yesterday.
I have an inner circle baseball release tonight, along with a baseball run line game of the month. Grab them at Vegas Sportsmasters right now, or you can get them both for $19 by calling 855-JIM-WIN.
All right, with all kinds of things going on. First, the big one, let's start with this fight going on Saturday from Las Vegas between McGregor and Mayweather. What a fascinating buildup we're seeing, kind of a superstar fight, because Mayweather came out yesterday and made a prediction. I guarantee I'm going to win this in a knockout. And then the money movement has been fascinating. Mayweather opened anywhere from 1 to 10 favorite a few months ago, and then that trickled down as bettors came in on the underdog. And yet yesterday we saw a couple of $1 million wagers, and one of the sportsbook directors in Vegas said what's happening is 90% of the tickets have been made on the underdog here. And what he said was people coming to the window, the average Joe, and they're saying, well, I think Mayweather's going to win the fight. How much do I have to bet to win $100? $500. And they say, well, forget that. Give me the underdog. And yet, Jim, the sharps aren't looking at it quite that way.
No, the average, just the other day, I checked the numbers, and one of the places had 7,200 bets on the underdog, McGregor, and the average bet was $140. And they had 200 bets on Floyd Mayweather. And the average bet in those 200 bets was $7,000. Now, since then, we've had a couple $1 million bets come in on Mayweather. The price is really wrong. When this fight was announced, I asked some experts. I'm not a boxing expert, but I asked some guys that really know the game, and they said the price probably should be 40 to 50 to 1. The problem here is there's a lot more MMA fans than there are boxing fans anymore. That's the sport that has taken over, and they want to see McGregor win this fight, and that's their champion. So they're betting in droves, and it's easier for the average fan to bet a little to win a lot. Just look at that lottery ticket the other day for $750 million. But bet a little to win a lot rather than bet a lot to win a little. Well, pros look at it the other way. They're looking at, hey, I can put somebody here. One of the hotel owners bet $880,000 to win $120,000 just a couple of weeks ago. Now the price is a little bit different. It's gone up from $450 to $550, and in some spots it's now $570. And probably we're going to look at this price continually to go up till fight time. So right now, I'm not sure this is a fight. Honestly, I really don't know if it's a fight or if it's a show. I think maybe this is like a WWE wrestling match where they're putting on a show and making a lot of money to do it. I think Floyd's going to make probably $100 million. McGregor's probably going to make half that. I'm not exactly sure the economics of it, but I know it's a lot more than most people make in a lifetime. And the story, McGregor, a couple of years ago, he was, I think, on some kind of subsistence, or from his government, making $300 a week or something like that. Now he's going to big ticket. This is only in America, folks. But Floyd is 49-0. I don't think he wants to see a blemish on his record. You have an MMA fighter that has never been a boxer against arguably one of the best boxers ever. When they have a record of 49-0, the guy's pretty tough. And he's had some tough fights over the years. They haven't all been cream puffs. So the guy, can he step in the ring against a boxer, one of the best in the world, having never boxed, and we can call it competitive? I I don't see that happening. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yes, he's younger. Yes, he's physical. Yes, he's strong. But Mayweather's been a champion, and he has done. I mean, 49. No, who the hell does that? That's. But the problem here is, boxing has not always been, let's say, straight up. If something were to happen in this fight, a disqualification, or it comes down to a decision at the end where it was really close, and there happened to be a second fight, the money they're making for this fight, for the second fight, would probably double. Now, when you look at Floyd's, I don't know what his bankroll is. I know he's made a lot of money. But if he could make $200 million the next time out, which will never happen if there isn't a next time out, that's the problem I have with this. I think Mayweather is going to win. I don't think it's going to be competitive. But that's me as somebody that knows sports, that knows experts, and I've talked to them about this. And they're all concerned with that. Because when you start throwing $200 million the next time out, then you start to wonder if the businessman will take over where the boxer leaves off. And that's my concern. Personally, I bet Mayweather. I didn't bet a lot. And, that's me saying, okay, I'm going to say this is on the up and up. The guy, and McGregor really doesn't have a chance to win. Now, you always have a puncher's chance, of course, but Floyd should just hammer him the whole fight, however long McGregor would last under that kind of punishment. I don't see it happening unless it's not right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Mayweather said that too yesterday when he guaranteed that he's going to win in a knockout. If you look at how many rounds this is going to go, the over-under they put at 9.5, and the under is up to minus 175, so the majority of the money is coming in on a short fight, which might favor Mayweather there.
Well, actually, John, the price now that I'm looking at out there is 8.5, not 9.5. It was 9.5. It got bet down quite a bit. So but the under is minus 141, 145. So there has been a lot of under money. I can understand that. I can understand, Mayweather is going to kick his butt and McGregor won't be able to take it and it'll end fast.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective.
Unless they really want to put on a show. You got to remember, this is a show. The public is being told this is a fight. But there's no way in God's earth that McGregor has earned this fight from a standpoint as a boxer. He's coming from another sport. Yes, they wear gloves. Now, there's an interesting bet that's out there on this proposition type bet. Will McGregor be disqualified? Now, think about that. Your whole life you've been fighting with 4-ounce gloves and using your feet as much as your hands. And then you've got the grappling and the wrestling and all the other stuff that goes with it. Now, in the heat of battle, you very well could go back to that without even thinking about it. It's just what you do. It's who you are. So if McGregor would kick, he would be disqualified. Mayweather would win. The bets would be won by Mayweather bettors. McGregor bettors would lose. But you can bet a little if you want, because it could happen that McGregor will forget where he is and what he's doing, and he'll kick. And if he does that, he's going to get disqualified. And that's the end of it.
That's right. And the total amount of money that it was wagered on the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight was $50 million, and they're projecting around $70 million. So this looks like a record-setting as far as the Nevada Gaming Commission is concerned. This is going to be a fascinating one on Saturday. We also have Week 3 of the NFL preseason going this weekend, where the starters are going to play at least the first half and maybe into the third quarter. Friday night, we have this Seattle, Kansas City game. Seattle, always a tough place to play, even in preseason. And I haven't seen a lot in the way of line movement, but a little bit here. Seattle, 3.5-point favorite, down to 3 now, as the Kansas City Chiefs looked exceptionally good last week in just crushing the Cincinnati Bengals. And that was a game where Andy Reid started and played his starters more than the average do in preseason. And yet for week 3, Reid says he's going to play the starters into the third quarter again. And he's got a pretty good 1-2 punch here, Jim, with Alex Smith and the rookie Mahomes.
Well, I'd like to point something out here. It's a tough place to play, and Pete Carroll likes to win preseason games too. And he's got a pretty good team, and they're playing very well. So both these teams are playing very well. Normally, Seattle would be a stronger favorite at home if this was a regular season game. They'd be a stronger favorite over most people. Kansas City is playing well. And here's the problem I have with this game. And this is why I think there's a little bit more money coming in on Kansas City. In last week's game, Seattle lost a player. Nobody's talking about it, at least the public isn't. It's huge. When you have a right-handed quarterback, which Wilson is, your left tackle is extremely important. And I had a guy there in that position named Fant, F-A-N-T. He got hurt. Knee issue. I don't remember exactly. ACL probably. He's out for the year. He will not be here this year. Now they got a new guy they're pumping in there. That is a tough position to fill. You have to protect the backside of your quarterback. Wilson is prone to getting hurt because he's a tough guy. And he moves around a lot. He does use his legs a lot. And you need to protect his backside. That is not a good situation. Now, this is a preseason game. And this is also the first time Fant will not be in that spot. So the backup, or the backups that they try in that spot, do you really want your first-string quarterback out there in a vulnerable situation in a meaningless game? That's the problem I have with this game, because I can't quite figure out, and nobody really knows, how good these backups are going to be in that spot. That's why I think there's a little bit more money coming in on Kansas City. I actually see a 2.5 out there, and I see 3s with plus money on the other side. So, yeah, I'm seeing Kansas City money, and that may be the right side.
Yeah, well, that offensive line for Seattle is really huge. It's certainly something to watch this weekend, because that's been their weak spot the last couple of years, the lowest paid offensive line in the NFL last year. Russell Wilson was off and running for his life. The good sign is they had, 153 yards rushing in last week's game, and that was against a great Minnesota defensive front, 4.5 yards per carry. But as you mentioned, they just lost one of their key players. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see a battle of field goals or defenses, because both teams have sensational depth and talent on the defensive line. They did meet a year ago in preseason, and it was a low-scoring game. Kansas City led 16-6 in the fourth quarter at home, and Seattle rallied for a 17-16 victory, and that went under the total. Kind of looking at a defensive battle here tonight, despite the above-average quarterback play. All right, a Saturday game. Speaking of low-scoring games and struggling offenses, the battle in the Big Apple, the Jets and the Giants. I mean, these offenses, Jim, have been a joke. The Jets through 2 preseason games, 13 total points on offense, and the Giants not much better with 18 points.
Well, boy, I'll tell you, the Jets are this is a train wreck. This is a train wreck. And I don't know what to say about this Jet team. They're barely an NFL squad. The Giants should win this game easily if they want to. And that's the question. Are they going to get any running help? Are they going to, this is the kind of game where unless you know absolutely what's going on in the Giants' mindset, because they have not played well. They have not played anywhere near what any of us expected. I mean, they played Pittsburgh the first game. Looked absolutely horrible, and we all know that Pittsburgh doesn't even try to win preseason games. No. Mike Tomlin has been notoriously terrible in preseason. He goes up to New York and he beats them. And then the next week, they lose again. So I don't know what's in the mind. This is, this is still a relatively new Giant coaching staff. They don't have the old, the old mentality that was there before. So this is a pass for me. The only way, I can look at it and say, well, tendency should be that the Giants should shut them down. That should be an underplay. And I think the line movement from 39 down to 37.5 under, so that means if even that 37.5, it's favored under. It's probably right. That's probably the correct line move. I would not bet the Jets with anybody's money.
Yeah, we heard a lot of criticism about Ben McAdoo.
Basically, this is not a professional football team at this point.
Yeah, Ben McAdoo, he got raked over the coals from his play calling a year ago, despite having an elite quarterback in Manning and plenty of weapons to throw to. We've even seen it in this preseason where they're just spotty at times, and it may be on him. And this is a game where they should bust out and score, but they just haven't done it. As you mentioned, Pittsburgh had a bad secondary last year. They don't care about these preseason games, and again they struggled. So you have to wonder there's a lot more wrong with both offenses than we're seeing. So I would agree with you, and that is follow the money from 39, the total, down to 37, 37 and a half. Kind of looks like a battle of field goals. All right, we have a game going on. We have some games going on Sunday in the NFL. One of the more interesting ones would be Chicago, Tennessee. You got a young Chicago offense that is rebuilding. They signed Mike Glennon in the offseason, basically said this is the guy who's going to lead us at least through the first 8 games of the season. And you can understand their thinking when you got a rookie like Trubisky coming in. You don't always want to throw a kid like that in there from day one. It's kind of not a bad plan to let him absorb the playbook, watch, get some plenty of reps, and then if you want to start him maybe in week 9 or so. However, Trubisky has been terrific in preseason, and Mike Glennon, in limited action, has already thrown 2 interceptions. So they got a little bit of a quarterback controversy earlier than they thought here in Chicago, Jim.
Well, you got to remember something that I think, what did they start with? About 95 to 100 players on the squads when they come into preseason, first game. So a lot of these quarterbacks that come out there in this as mop up or second or third guy in the rotation, they're playing against people that are not going to be NFL players. So you can look good that way because you're playing against guys that are going to be bagging groceries next week. So I don't really know what to say. I like what I see out of Trubisky, but he has to go against the score. This Tennessee team is pretty good. They have a good offense. They have a good defense. They got a good running game. This is a solid football team. And Chicago's not. And Fox he's got his pants are on fire, man, because he doesn't show something. He's going to be gone. Glennon, I've seen Glennon play before. I saw him in college. I saw him at Tampa. He shows signs at times of being pretty good, but he's not with a very good team. And yes, he has made some mistakes already, so he's not looking good. Hard to say. This is one of those kind of games that if I'm going to bet this game, I'm on Tennessee, and that's it. The line move, there's really no real line move here. It's been 3, but it's getting to be a little bit more expensive on the 3 side. I see 1-3.5. I tend to believe Tennessee's the right side here. I really don't care what Fox plans to do, because if Tennessee comes out and tries to win and Chicago comes out and tries to win, Tennessee would be the side. And if there's a regular season game with all the starters playing, Tennessee would probably be 6.5, 7.
Well, I'll take a look at the total, because if there's a couple of strengths with the Bears, one is the offensive line. That's really pretty solid all around. They had a lot of yards rushing last week. And then you got Glennon. He's been erratic here in preseason, but the Bears' run defense was actually dynamite last week, giving up 40 yards rushing, 2.1 yards per carry, huge improvement. And that's important because they're facing a Tennessee team that is so good at rushing the football. 2 preseason games, they've run for 134 and 136 yards rushing. And the Tennessee Titans defense, they got a lot of talent and flexibility, and that coordinator is Dick LeBeau. He brings all kinds of different exotic schemes at defenses. So when I line up Glennon being with 2 picks already, the improved Chicago run defense, a run-oriented Tennessee team, plus Dick LeBeau. Yeah, maybe this is a lower scoring game, maybe a 16-13 kind of game in the battle of field goals. All right, that'll do it for the edition of Proline. I want to remind you, we have plays going on all weekend long. Jim, you're a perfect 3-0 this week with baseball games of the month. Plus, people can get free plays as well every day.
That's right. The free plays, you just call 888-294-1970, or if you'd like, just text GAME, that's GAME, to 64600, and check out my free fast facts available at jimfeist.com.
All right, Jim is also on that 51-33 run with baseball inner circles. He has a run line game of the month on Friday night, plus his NFL preseason game of the year going this weekend. That'll do it for this edition of Proline. We'll see you back on Monday, and good luck with the games, everyone.